have Louisa and Julie from Play Milwaukee. They make these adorable little cards that give you coupons and discounts for family-friendly activities for things that you can do in and around Milwaukee. So we are going to hear from them today. So I'm going to hand it over to you guys. Thanks so much.
Thank you. All right, well, thank you for coming. We are excited to share with you a little bit about Play Milwaukee. So Louise is going to start us off.
Okay, I'd like to do some audience participation right now. Imagine if you don't have a family, imagine you do have a family. And it's another rainy or let's say cold and snowy day in Milwaukee. And you've just finished serving breakfast to your children. And they're going to look up at you with those adorable big eyes. And what's the first question they're going to ask you? Anybody? Anybody?
What are we doing?
Can I watch TV?
Well, yes, or?
Where's my? What are we doing today?
So the magic mom pulls out her Play Milwaukee deck. And she goes up to her favorite child and says, oh, pick a deck, any deck. It's my favorite child, Todd. And what you got, Todd?
Play Zone. Woohoo!
Play Zone, which is a sort of play area with lots of inflatables in Germantown. And Matt is going to be able to bring a friend because the Play Milwaukee card has one free Kids Zone pass. All right? Now this is what Play Milwaukee is all about. We are a deck of 21 cards, 21 places for family fun activities in Milwaukee. Each card offers a discount. And it's not only any discount, however, the entire deck boasts a value of over $400 in savings. So it's really substantial, and the cards can be used up until December of 2016. So you have all of this year to use it through spring break, through summer holidays, all the way up until Christmas.
Okay, so Louisa touched on this a little bit, but we're similar to an entertainment book, but we aren't jammed full of all these different ideas, and we feel like we really try to hone in and focus on some of the best places to take your children within the city. And so we, Milwaukee Magazine comes out with a best of list. Milwaukee has a best of list, and that's what we wanted to do. We wanted to do the same thing. Get a deck, and this is what you can concentrate on and take your children to and feel like you're really going to high quality places. So Louisa and I, it was at this time last year, January, and it was colder than this. It was a very cold day. We were both educators, and we both had the day off. We were at the gym. We had just finished this ridiculous workout, so we were probably a bit delusional. And we're in the gym, and I have my kids with me today because there's no school. School is canceled. So I'm talking about what I'm going to do with them all day. She starts, sharing ideas with me. We start this conversation. Other women in the gym locker room are chiming in, and we both look at each other, and it was this moment where we almost were on the same page, and she's like, we should create something, like a list of ideas. And I start talking, and then she looks at me, and she's like, shh, stop talking. and then we leave the gym, and she's texting me. She's like, let's meet for coffee and start talking about this. So voila, that's how our idea was born, and it became this twinkle in our eye, and then the idea evolved throughout that last winter and spring.
So Julie and I created a list based on all the information from other moms and ourselves, trying to pick the best places to take your children to. And that was very important for us. It wasn't any place. The criteria that we based our selection was, would we want to take our kids there? And if the answer was yes, would our kids have fun when they got there? That's Thelma and Louise,
Just driving all over Milwaukee, having fun. Louisa touched on this before, but we narrowed it down to 21 places. We asked these places to partner with us. Once they said yes, we said we would roughly like the card to represent $10, and they ended up being a higher value than that. We have 21 cards, over $400 in savings. So we really value the people that are in our deck. We feel we know most of the owners of all these businesses, and they're a great partnership, and we're really excited about the people that are in our deck.
So we spoke about what happened in January. It was when the idea for Play Milwaukee was formed, and then we went out and schlepped all over Milwaukee to get the places. Between January and August, we created our website. We created our Facebook page, our online store, and we also, I think that's all we did, and visited places to secure them selling the deck. And then in August, Julie and I received, I think, 30 boxes of plain Milwaukee decks, and we were ready to roll, ready to launch it in the market.
So our sales, how we've been selling our decks, we've gone to a lot of holiday boutiques. We have been at many different fundraiser opportunities throughout the city, and then we're in many stores throughout the city of Milwaukee and suburbs. And so one thing we've really concentrated on is being a fundraiser in schools. So we feel that our best market is families, obviously, because they're the people that want to learn about different places to take their children. They want to know about them, and then in the end, they want to be able to save money. So that's been a great avenue for us to sell.
And in December, we were fortunate enough to have a meeting with the executive director of Ronald McDonald House Charities. And they decided to choose our product to be a fundraising initiative for them. And we were thrilled with this because they, how they're using Plain Milwaukee, which actually translates into much more exposure for our brand, which is a key objective for us, is they will send out email blasts, put Play in their newsletter, and they have, over 5,000 plus email list. And what people do, if they wish to support Ronald McDonald House, they'll go to our website, plug in a code for Ronald McDonald House. We send out the deck to these individuals, and in return, we turn around and give the proceeds back to Ronald McDonald House. And so far, this has been, really successful for us and for them. And that's our story.
And just when we talked a little bit about our goals for what we're working on right now, it's just to innovate how we're selling our decks and to increase those sales, to start thinking about our 2017 deck, obviously, and then just really creating how our partners feel a valued part of our deck and kind of creating that relationship and maintaining it.
Right.
So that's...
And the reason being for this is that as we launch the 2016 deck, we have full intention, obviously, to do the 2017 deck, which we'll have to start working on sort of in spring. So we want to make sure that the partners we really like will be thrilled to participate in the deck, and they'll be able to provide good testimonials to new partners who will introduce in the 2017 deck. I'm going to just pass out. I have the laminated cards here. I'll just pass them out, and you guys can take a look at the deck. And any questions?
What is your price point?
It's $25. Yeah, I should have said that. Yeah.
You say you're particular about your targets. Is that based on education impact on the children, or how do you select
Our
who you want?
partners?
Yeah, exactly.
Right. It's a good question. It's more, when we go visit a place, we want it to obviously be a place we would take our children.
Sure.
We want it to, be clean and where, you would want to hang out for a Saturday afternoon. So that's more of how we feel, a safe neighborhood in a good price point, and obviously also the discount. We've had a couple people come to us about our 2017 deck, and we're like, people we're starting to have people that want in that maybe don't really relate to our product, but want to be,
Right.
they're kind of borderline. So so it's just us kind of our feel and how we feel when we go visit it.
And we were very conscious when choosing the partners to have a nice combination, let's say, of cultural experiences, like we have the Public Museum and we have the Betty Bryn, purely sort of physical fun experiences like the indoor trampoline place or mini golf. And then we were also very aware of the seasons. We have some indoor activities, and then we made sure to have some outdoor activities, so our deck could be applicable and attractive throughout the seasons.
So that's...
Yeah, no, go ahead.
I'll shut up. Somebody
No,
else can go,
please.
but the $25 is for the entire year. You can use the
Exactly,
whole pack. Okay.
yes. if we go to, let's say, Helium, which is an indoor trampoline place, you will present your card to the cashier. They'll give you the discount and they take the card. So that, in essence, that card is gone. And one thing we didn't mention, we said we have 21 cards. Really, there are just 20 family fun activity type places in the deck. We do have one card which is from Neroli. And in our marketing materials, we say that's a reward, our TLC card for the poor schlepper who's got to take the kids to the 20 places.
Hopefully
Yes.
they're having fun.
What is the,
Yeah.
what is the cost for the establishment to get into your deck of cards?
We don't charge.
Oh, okay.
No, our first year, we decided not to charge, just to really dip our toe in the market and
Okay.
see whether they'd be receptive.
Okay.
How do you find out which cards are being used?
That's a great question, and we have to be honest, we haven't been very good at establishing a sort of system for that.
So we have constant communication with our partners. We don't have a number from each of them of how many are being used. We're in the talking stages of possibly in 2017 having an app where we could talk, know more about how many cards are being used. It's a great question.
Tracking.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
In the future, do you plan on charging the advertisers to be in there?
We're not sure.
Yeah.
We're not
Consider
sure.
it.
Yeah.
Do you have any thoughts on it?
Yes. I think you should be charging.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it is free.
I mean, I look at like a city tents.
Right.
They for sure charge.
Right.
To be
Right.
their business put into the
Right.
tent, if you will.
And I think what we were trying to do in our first year is just develop our brand. and
Yeah,
our
for sure.
product.
And I see what
Yeah,
you're doing there.
yeah.
A big focus for us, I was going to use the word worry, and I retract that. Focus for us is how do we make our partners feel so psyched to be in the deck that if we ever come back, not only for future participation, but perhaps for charging them, it'll be a no-brainer for them. So we're really, trying to spend some time on connecting with these partners more. And how do they see value in their deck? Some people have told us they don't care, they don't want to hear from us how many decks have been sold already. They want to know how much exposure they're getting, Facebook posts, all that. So it's a lot of tracking issues that we
Sure.
really need to focus on.
Sure, yeah.
Right.
Yes.
A couple questions actually. One, do you anticipate having these in electronic format or do you already?
Yes.
So that's when we talked about the app, we would love to have an app with our next deck so that you could use it electronically.
Right. Second, it looks like you're transitioning the whole entertainment book model. Do you plan on leveraging schools the same way entertainment books do to kind of sell?
We already are. So we're in multiple districts as a fundraiser, and we did a bunch in the fall, and now we've kicked off this school, the winter, with a bunch of like winter blues fundraisers. So they sell them either at the school or we do it online.
Right.
So either
They
way.
have different expirations depending on when they're sold.
They all expire at the end of 2016.
Right. And we've tried to make it as user-friendly for the schools or the nonprofits or the sports organizations. We provide and design ourselves all the marketing material, so the PTOs don't have to worry about that. We'll send it to them. If they wanted a laminated deck, we'll send it to them. What we have found to be a very surprisingly profitable model for us, besides the PTOs and perhaps a Ronald McDonald House, the Cafe 1505 in Mequon very graciously agreed to put, a 3x5 acrylic tea stand on all of their cafe tables. It's mainly a breakfast and lunch place in Mequon. And we did, really cute pictures and teaser about the deck, and it said, come to the deli counter and check out the deck. And people would come to the deli counter after they finished a meal, and we had the laminated card there. And as soon as they could see all the deals, the decks flew out. So that's a model that obviously is successful. We would like to replicate it in other restaurants, and we're working on that just because it was so successful. Yes?
So how much inventory do you have left if, say, it's November, we're coming down to the end of the year, and you think January is your time to sell for 2016? What happens if you print too many and 6 months into it thinking, well, I don't want to have this just for 6 months. We thought about doing whenever it starts, May, you have until next May. So it was kind of a continuing time period. There's no expiration based on year.
I'm sorry, so not putting an expiration date on the,
Yeah, so I mean, it doesn't go January to January, but it could go from May to May, because, I mean, like the tins, if you buy them 2 or 3 months in, all of a sudden maybe it's, I'm 2 or 3 months out now.
Right.
I still pay full price.
right, yeah, I mean, that's a really good point for
The
us.
tin model though is the early sales. So
Yeah.
they do
Yeah.
October, I think September through December, and then that's pretty much.
Sure.
Much their
The
sales.
12-month
Like
cycle.
gone by
Right.
January,
Yeah.
February.
Kevin, that was a 12-month cycle. Every
Right,
time- every
right.
time you get it.
And ours was, this first deck for us was longer actually, because we started selling in September and we made them active right away.
Right.
But yeah, that's a good thought for us to.
And we definitely see the benefits of perhaps starting in the fall, because that's when school starts,
Right.
Yeah,
and we see that as a huge market for us.
right.
Yes.
Are you gonna stick with the year model, or would you consider like seasonal decks?
I know people have brought up that idea of seasonal decks to us before. It's a good idea to have something like more outdoorsy, better weather, more winter based.
Yeah.
So it's obvious, Louise and we're both, I think we mentioned this, but we're both educators. And so doing this has been a huge learning curve for
Right.
us of what we're doing. And so we love this. Like, we love talking to people. Focus Training had us in last week and gave us all this wonderful advice that was awesome about things.
No,
we
they
can
gave
do.
us tasks.
Tasks, yeah. Figuring them out. So, and they recommended you, and then in a week we're standing here presenting. So that's really
Yeah.
great. So it's just been a lot of learning for us and taking all these ideas, and it's been awesome. And I think a seasonal deck, that's a really good idea for us as well.
I mean, one thing which I have to say has been a real challenge for us, just being two people, and I know, some people in the audience could relate. Big companies, they just have someone dealing with Facebook or dealing with MailChimp or whatever, and all these components are so important to the growth of your business. And we just find, to divide ourselves and to become experts in all these areas has been a challenge, but it's not a challenge that we shy away from at all. I mean, we're willing to learn everything. It's just, there's only 24 hours in the day. So where do we get most bang for our buck and be able to increase our sales most productively?
How was the Ronald McDonald House in comparison? How was the revenue in comparison to the schools?
Schools are better right now, wouldn't you
Right.
say?
Schools are better. Ronald McDonald House, we were on we were only on Channel 4 where we talked about the Ronald McDonald House. We had a little news blurb that we did. And then they did one part of their newsletter about us. They're sending out a news blast just about us this month. So it'll be interesting to see if there's an increase that way.
Yeah.
Right.
But the school fundraisers have really been our best way to sell the decks.
Yeah.
And stores. I mean, Cafe 1505. Louisa one Saturday night had to leave a dinner party and run decks over to Cafe 1505.
I think that shows us, though, as we continue to learn, that it's hard to be dependent on someone else to send out the material. We're dependent on the person at Ronald McDonald's House Charities to do the email blast. They own their list.
Right.
And so we're like, okay, let's do another one, let's do another one. And then she's like, well, we got a lot of stuff going on.
There's another email from them, that Play Milwaukee.
Right, whereas the PTOs,
Yeah.
once they assume a project, it's primarily their sole focus. One lady deals with it and is very motivated to raise funds. So it's hard to be dependent on someone else.
Julie, you mentioned that the fundraisers are your best so far. Is that best in terms of volume or
Volume.
revenue or
I would-
both or?
I would say both. Yeah.
And what is the return for a school? How good a fundraiser is it?
Sure, so if they sell 50 or under 50 decks, we give them $5 back a deck. They sell over 50 or over, we give them $7.50.
Still always keeping the retail price at $25.
Right.
What was your overall revenue so far? How many units was it?
How many have we sold?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're at about over 1,000 sold.
And what's the margin do you have an estimated margin for each unit?
Of how much we make on each
Yeah.
one. Yeah, I mean, we have obviously our manufacturing costs and our graphic design costs, and so we're lucky that producing a deck is not that expensive. So we say about $5 a deck.
And Is that including your time at all or not?
No.
No.
That's
Free,
worth a lot.
free labor. Free labor, soon to be tycoons, we're
Yeah.
working on it.
Right.
Yes, sir.
I don't know if you can do this, but you, right now, you're not charging these places
Right.
to put a nominal charge on it, that if they send the cards back to you, you give them $1 for each one or whatever you charge them in the first place. That way you get a count,
The
a little
tracking.
bit more participation and
Right. And a lot of places, they have a tracking, like when they do the sale, they have a way that they're tracking it.
they're tracking, yeah, or they pass
Yeah,
that
but
on
they're
to
giving
you.
it to us, yes, right. Okay.
Will the deck always be the same size?
Number of cards?
Yes.
No, actually next, we've already started talking about 2017 being, actually it's more than 21 cards. We probably wouldn't go over 30.
Yeah.
So, that was just a precursor to, so you were talking about wanting to stick with the best of the best. So then 30 is your maximum best. So if those are the partners that you're choosing, so what happens when you're essentially full on that side? Does it ever change?
Right, like, yeah, I mean, I guess that's where we feel an app would be really great to start gathering feedback about places, because we also want them to be places that our customers want to go to.
Right.
So, we want our partners to come back to our deck, obviously. We want them to want to return. But we also want to be sending all these families throughout Milwaukee to really high quality places. So if we start getting reports that, some place is not great, it's dirty, it's not fun, the customer service was bad, I mean, then that's when we have to talk about, is this a card that we want to have in future decks?
Yeah. And we'd like to arrive at a point where people, organizations will be vying to get in the deck. Because they realize it's such a good opportunity for them. And one aspect which we forgot to stress is that over and above this being a business, and it's getting these families to use their cards at these places, another objective for us that we feel very passionately about is that we're getting people out and about enjoying Milwaukee. And that's huge for us, because we'll have some people from one area who've never gone west side or vice versa. And we feel it's small enough for us, everyone to go back and forth. And so it's not a sort of a tourist thing for us, but it really is promoting Milwaukee as a very wonderful, family-friendly place, offering lots of things. And we want to make that very clear to everybody. Yes?
Have you guys talked to anyone from City Tins before?
Yeah, I'm friends with one of the owners of City Tins.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then what's your, how many units is your goal to sell in 2016?
I think our initial goal was roughly 2,000, so we're getting there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When do you see the biggest, is there one month that's higher than the others, or what does your kind of?
Yeah, December was higher at holidays. A lot of people, I think, were giving them stocking stuffers, Christmas.
Gotcha.
We did lots of ads, this is a perfect stocking stuffer. We really capitalize on the whole panic. We, don't have enough time for gifts. This is a perfect solution.
And then something that just popped in my head is if you wanted to track your growth a little bit more and kind of try to mitigate against the risk of making a ton up front that people might want to buy maybe in the fall, maybe you could, instead of making them for an entire year, make them per quarter. If you're not comfortable doing them per month yet, maybe make them per quarter and see how many you can sell in quarter one, and then that'll expire the next year's quarter one, and then they could dispatch for quarter two and expire then. And then you'll be able to kind of see trends a little bit more.
Right, that's a good idea.
And actually, kind of piggybacking on what Evan just said, I think there's an opportunity there to capitalize on the seasonality, because as we all know, come summertime, there's a lot more activities to do outside, but they're very limited. So to have that in a yearly book, it kind of gets lost. But I think there's an interesting way that you can test out the digital element of it and have like a wild card. So if you buy the you buy the pack at the beginning of the year, you can check the website for the wild card. That's just a limited weekend thing. Then as you go out and start prospecting for 2017, you have the people that want to get in 2016, you can do like a weekend offer.
Right. Yeah, I like that.
So Probably a question, of more of a suggestion, because I didn't see this part of your platform. And probably a really good part to add to your program so that you can add something to sell when you do sell these to your partners. A kids club with it, where the kids can engage and say their experience, and then you can sell that back to the partner that you have.
Right.
Because that shows a lot of engagement, and now the kids are willing to go because they come back and they engage with the website or whatever and say, you know, you have a few questions that, you know, let's say the museum asks, and then there's more engagement.
Right.
And so it really brings it full circle.
Yeah.
It's a great idea.
I like that.
I'm so glad this is videotaped. There's so many good suggestions. Oh, poof.
So I'm curious how you're going to app development. Are you going to hire someone, or are you?
That's not our forte, so
Yeah.
yes, we will be
How do
hiring
you go
someone.
about hiring someone?
Well, we know so some people are here from Focus Training, which we're connected to, and so there's someone that was a trainer there who does some app development. So
What
we've
is
been talking to
focus
him.
Training? I've never
Focus Training, Todd, you want to share what's Focus Training?
Okay, we're a leadership development company, so we focus on training high potentials and managers, goal setting, team building, communication, and professionalism. So we've been around for about 25 years and work with companies throughout the Midwest primarily, but nationally as well.
So one of the partners at Focus mentored Louise and I in the very initial stages, and so they've just been helpful in talking to us and helping out, and that's how we got connected to 1 Million Cups. Yeah.
What's your plan for scale for this company? Are you going to stay in Milwaukee? Or
We
are you
would
gonna-
like to do another city.
Okay, because I was doing the math, you have $25 ad, $5 cost, $7.50 in commission, let's say. So there's $12.50 for paying yourselves
Right.
and advertising and overhead and
Right.
all the design, all that stuff. So that doesn't leave a lot of almost 1,000 back,
Right.
or even 2,000.
Well, and we're, you know-
You want to grow next year, but
Right.
what's your limit in the city and then how many?
Right.
how many-
Yeah.
So obviously taking on another city would be great for us. Yeah, that it has definitely been in our plans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've been thinking about, you know, what city would that be? Do we base it on the size of the city? Do we base it on the concept that Milwaukee is very coupon driven? You know, the #1 city for using coupons, so do we try and find the second one, same size? I mean,
Right.
that's so many factors for us to consider. Yes.
One of the things I really like that you talked about is this mission of getting people more connected
Right.
to the city. And it made me think of an organization that has a very similar mission called Milwaukee.
Oh, yeah.
And sort of their sell to businesses is let us help get your people connected to the city so they don't leave. So it's a retention strategy. You might want to think about reaching out to Milwaukee because, and we talked about this in our meeting before, but
Right.
I could see a play deck in like a welcome pack
Yep.
for a new family that
Right.
just moved to Milwaukee who's working at Bank Mutual or whatever to help keep them in the city.
It's a great idea, yeah.
What's your target age range for the kids?
For the children?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's actually pretty high. So Louisa has 18 and 20-year-old, and I have 5 and 7, and the majority of the cards apply to all of them. So there's only a couple that are probably younger based, like Betty, Bryn, and Play Zone.
Yeah.
So Louisa's girls go rock climbing, my kids go rock climbing. Louisa's girls like to go to Helium, so do my kids. So there's a lot of them that are overlapped there. So we say 3 to 18, but it's probably more in that all of elementary and middle school age.
Would you consider offering a variety of decks?
Based
that
on
had a
age.
variety of,
Yeah,
Like diversify it.
yeah.
right. Well,
Yeah.
I would see that being more of a value, especially if you're monetizing on the business end of things, because that opens up your pool dramatically for who you can get
Yeah,
into the deck.
right.
Instead of, because right now you're limiting yourself to
Sure.
30 businesses. You know,
Yeah.
there's a whole lot of businesses in Milwaukee that may want that exposure and that they could get in there.
So I'm hearing like age appropriate, seasonal ones. Did I miss anything else?
On the age thing, it doesn't just needs to be kids, right? It could be college students.
It's true. I mean, there are a lot of cards in our deck that college kids would actually do.
You know, geared towards stuff that they would.
Right,
use.
they would. They would use, yes, right.
And I would say with all of this too, like wait for your customers to ask for that stuff. Like it's something that you can keep in the back of your mind and maybe
Right.
think
That's
about
a
what
good
the
point.
process would be. But if the customers, because we can give you all the tidbits that we think, but we're ultimately, at least I'm not probably your customer at this point.
Right.
So wait for them to ask for those things, and then when it's a pain point for them, then you know that you have another
Sure.
stream to go into.
Yeah, that's good. Well, thank you all. This was really helpful.
So we always wrap these up by asking, what can we as a community do for you?
Just talk about us.
Yeah.
I mean, just share our story and the product, and people that you know that would use a deck or could use a deck. Just it's word of mouth. That it's really growing, and it's funny how there's people that live on my block that didn't even know what I was doing. So it's just that this first year of our business is growing it and getting people to learn about it.
And where's the best place to direct someone if they want to buy?
Our website would be great.
And
Playyourcity.org.
Playyourcity.org.
Yeah.
Yes.
Are you doing this full time or are you still teaching?
I just took this semester off. I teach psychology at Concordia. So, and Louisa took the year off.
Yes.
But we're on sabbatical this year.
Thanks so much, Lisa.
Thank you.